Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Algorand Proof of Stake Show. Vendable is building protocols for wallet-based DeFi applications on the Algorand network that address identity and privacy concerns for individuals globally, as well as enterprise and governments alike. In 2021, Vendable received an Algorand Foundation grant to build compliant-first solutions compatible with current regulations by coupling identity with asset ownership and transferability. Welcome, Doug, to the Algorand Proof of Stake Show.
Hey, Ryan, it's good to see you again.
Absolutely. We've been connected for quite some time. Got a chance to connect with you in Austin and also in New York in the last couple of weeks. So great to have you as our first guest.
Yeah, indeed. Very, very excited to be here and get to share some of what we're doing here at Vendable.
Outstanding. Well, Vendible Labs certainly has some ambitious goals in the digital identity and DeFi spaces. Let's start with you, Doug. Well, what's your background and why did you decide to found Vendible Labs?
So my background is actually in corporate management, managing large organizations and process improvement. But originally I started off in mechanical engineering and energy transfer systems. I got into blockchain pretty early as a researcher around 2012, but it was from an energy process background. I wanted to see could Bitcoin actually scale, and I really didn't see. It didn't seem like it could, and then proof of stake came along. And I started to get excited, and I got into a few open source groups in payments and identity. Fantastic technology, really fantastic communities. I was really excited about everything they were doing. But at the same time, I knew that only a very small subset of people would ever adopt that technology as it was then, and kind of still as it is right now, that there is a lot of things that were blocking everybody else. So like the early adopters understand the value that's in these transactions. Bitcoin was meant for internet transactions between unknown, untrusted parties. It works fantastic. But it's worked so well that now like 10% of the world is at least to some degree testing the waters with this or jumping in. But what do you do when you know each other and you have these technologies? And what does it take for people to feel comfortable and safe and all that it means to be sovereign over your assets when there's also a high amount of risk involved with that?
All right. So my understanding of Vendable is that they're focused on three key areas: integrated identity to ensure users still know who you're dealing with, protecting users from common mistakes, so losing keys doesn't mean losing funds, and finally, privacy-preserving smart contracts to keep your identity and finances from prying eyes. Can you briefly explain each of those and how they fit together within the Vendable app?
Yeah. So for us, in order for people to feel secure and have more trust in a system, they need to be able to connect with others that they also know and trust. And so the earliest iterations of Vendable were essentially using decentralized identifiers to connect friends, families, connections, communities, so that there was this trust layer over this really complicated system. But as we got farther into it, as we began talking to banks and to companies who also had issues around open networks, it became clear that we had an opportunity to design a new system that would take identity and it would take assets, and we would actually couple them together. So by doing that, we solve a lot of challenges towards not just from from an ownership standpoint, but also from an accessible standpoint. So things become, you'll be able to manage systems a lot easier when all of these things are together, where it's not just these external checks for identity and then you go into a transaction. If you can blend all this into one, then you solve a lot of issues. And so identity for us is that anchor point into everything that we do. What we want people to feel like is that they own their space in Web3 in a way that you really can't at the moment. And that anchor through our decentralized identifier begins to open up new paths to connect in data, my own personal data that I create through the use of an application and my assets. We want to do this in a way that also protects everybody's privacy at the same time. So this is the big trick, right? So the first system that we did was in a closed permission blockchain, and it was very simple. But then our grant with the Algorand Foundation in 2021 was to take this identity payment system that was in a controlled system and then translate that onto an open network. And like, what would that mean for us to do that? And so, that was the original intent of the grant. And
I was going to jump in and just say, I know in April you closed your seed round at Bendable Labs for just under 2 million USD, including participation from Borderless Capital, Big Brain Holdings, Vixen Ventures, NGC Ventures, and the Woodstack Fund. So congratulations on that raise.
Yeah, thank you.
So all this, of course, that was building on that grant, and then you open up the beta to some 500 globally diverse users. And I understand that you have over 400,000 sitting on your waiting list today. So I'm wondering, how do you onboard that many users to your platform, and how does Algorand fit into your design criteria?
So we've got the answer is slowly at first. Because we could have easily just opened up our entire wait list to open the floodgates. But for us, we are a community-driven project, and we want to feel a close connection with everybody that's inside of the wallet. We're leading to a lot of social connectiveness inside the wallet, even though everybody's identity is masked on externally. We're building systems internally that bring everybody together and build that trust in the system. So getting the user experience correct was critical for us, helping people even understand why on earth do I need to go and identify myself before I even access the service. Making sure that messaging was correct. So we really did say, yes, you're going through KYC, but no, Vendable doesn't see this information. And to be quite honest, we don't even want to. Like, we're only doing this so that we can give you that stamp on chain that says this is me. But at the same time, all of that information is totally encrypted. No one can see this, only you. Now you have this ownership, and you can start to share this information with others if you choose to. But if you don't, it's up to you. And so making sure that messaging was correct was critical. Making sure that we could answer questions in a very, very short time frame. I think, like right now, I think we've got a sub 4-minute response time through our customer service channels. And so, so now
that's incredible. I mean, that really answers that why. Why is it important to build out identity management for a decentralized future? So you're hinting at some partners. So tell us a little bit about who you are partnering with to provide those digital identifiers, and really, how does that process work?
So our main partner is Onfido. They are a recognized world leader in identity, in biometrics, and now also in like AML monitoring as well.
Okay.
And so it allows us to board anyone globally with a valid document ID from the government and an image of their face.
So what do I have to give to you, Vendable Labs, in order for Onfido then to provide me back with my digital identifier?
So you give Vendible Labs nothing.
Hmm.
So this entire process goes between the wallet and Onfido. So in the system with our validators, and we could talk about additional validators in just a moment, but this specific instance, you upload images of your document and your face, and those are sent to Onfido, and they go through their validation checks where they're checking the actual image of the documents and does it have all of these little, all the things that they embed in those IDs to make
Right.
sure that they're legitimate, and then the face against the document, and then they're storing your biometrics. And so once that's complete, the data from that verification comes
Mm-hmm.
back to the wallet.
Mm-hmm.
It gets encrypted, and then it gets stored in our decentralized data layer.
All
From
right.
there, we create a DID document. So this is really just a JSON file that points to who was the validator, when did this happen, how long is it valid, what was validated, and then it gives reference links to this data. But because in typical DID systems, these are kind of open URLs that will lead you to some proof. For us, it's the encrypted hash of this data,
Okay.
and so essentially we use elliptic curve cryptography to sign with the public key of
Right.
the wallet, so that it can access that data and resolve it into the wallet.
Okay. And all of this
But
process. Oh,
the key to our entire network is uniqueness of an individual. So
right.
with the biometric systems that we have set up, there's a process called known faces.
Okay.
So let's say Doug sets up his account, and then I'm just not even thinking, and I go to another device and I want to set up another wallet, and I go back through. It doesn't matter that the picture was different, the image that went through was different. Onfido is able to recognize my face, and it prompts me to put in my seed phrase for my initial setup, because it will only allow one Doug in the Vendable network.
Okay.
And this becomes a really, really powerful tool for not only us, but for developers to begin to think about new types of applications that you can create that, quite honestly, you couldn't create before. Because we can now look towards some of our partnerships that we're working on with developers revolve around creating new dApps where only if you only want one instance of a person in there. So
Mm-hmm.
like a social media dApp is a perfect example. A voting dApp is a
Right.
perfect example. Or you want liquidity pools where there's no bots.
Right.
That each one is an actual individual there. Essentially, like the term is civil resistance.
Right.
So preventing people from creating multiple pseudonymous accounts to kind of gain leverage over others in the system.
Because the only way that we can gain access into the Vendable network is to provide our identity, our government issued documents to Onfido, who then issue back the digital identifier to us so that we can now participate in the Vendable network. And all
Yeah.
that's happening within about 5 minutes, is my understanding?
Mine took about 14 seconds. It depends on,
Really?
yeah, it depends on where you are.
Okay.
But we've got a pretty slick onboarding experience now because we like our target market is like the everybody else that we were talking about earlier. And
Okay.
so we're now beginning to put in logic signatures and atomic transactions to smooth out processes in wallets. So in our
Nice.
setup process, we don't want you to have to stop, fund the account, and then
Right.
send the transaction to register your DID on chain, and then any other setup. So what we do is we have a very simple logic signature where when I am validated from Onfido,
Hmm.
there's an atomic transaction that goes through that funds your wallet. It registers your DID on your behalf, and then we opt you into USDC, and then we leave that minimum balance in the wallet for everybody. So as
Okay.
a way to just kind of get up and get started, very
Got
simply.
it.
And
So you're taking care of basically pre-funding and onboarding those users into the Vendable system.
yeah,
Nice.
and this
Well,
leads.
as
Oh
I was
yeah,
going to say,
go ahead.
as you know, of course, you've already alluded. Like what we do here on the Proof of Stake show, right? It is for algo devs, right? And we know that you've got a demo that you want to show us. So can we
Yeah,
get into that?
yeah. Let me share my screen.
All right, I will give you the floor.
Okay, so this is what everybody sees when they first move into the wallet. We do a very quick overview. This is part of our educational onboarding experience where we're alluding to all of the little items that you may not think about, but you probably should, and also we speak to the whys around this setup. So from this point, we have two options. We can import a wallet or we can create a new wallet. So we have a system, a check system where we can look on chain and determine whether or not an account is connected to a valid DID. We did not really get into our privacy preserving mechanisms, but just very quickly, that main account that's created, well, with our next release, the main account that is created houses just the DID. And that is the anchor point. And we then spin up associated anonymous accounts, which connect with another document back to the DID, so that we can now create new channels between trade partners, between friends and families, between us and applications, so that our identity and our actions are masked. But at the same time, we can run zero knowledge proofs on all these accounts and quickly check whether or not these are connected to something else that, say, is already in my system. But let's go ahead and just create a new wallet. This will probably take me a moment with the keys. So I'm just going to copy this over. Forgive me while I run through this. Okay, I'm just going to swap over. So once again, here's the big why. Why are we even doing this? We've covered this, briefly, but really we're doing this as that trust mechanism for our members. We have a system already in place. We're very early on with another validator called Alloy. They do a lot of business verifications for banks. We don't have that service currently turned on, but we will be opening up a business side to the wallets as well. Right now, let's just go back through here. At the moment, we have everything essentially the access is closed. It's not open because we've wanted to honor everybody on the wait list. So we have a code that is used for access, and these are unique. So now we enter into the identity verification section. So we've now created the secure connection between the wallet and Onfido. So I am going to, we're on testnet now, by the way. So I'm going to upload here and I'm going to use their Onfido's test image. And I need to take a picture of my face. So we'll upload this. And so this is the this is where we send our documents over. This is our screen that we show while the verification is in process, as we're waiting for the data to be verified and back. And now you can see that we have created. Now, in the time that it took me to not finish that sentence, Onfido had already sent that back. We had already encrypted, created the document, issued the DID, and opted into USDC, and we are now in. So this is, it shows how many credits for our upcoming token that I've earned just for signing up. We are about to release more rewards in the wallet that are geared towards the communal activities that we had spoken about. It also, we're going to have rewards in our social channels as well. You can see this is privacy by design. So it will not show me that here's my 0.35 algo that was essentially issued so that we could opt in and have our minimum balance. Everything in the wallet is designed for ease of use. So all of our transactions are right here, simple filters to go through. Also assets, we can come in here and view these right from this screen. Contacts as well. If we wanted to add an asset, in the production, we give some of the popular ones, and then you could do the search as well. Send and receive, these are all fairly basics. What is of note is right here. So if we go into my settings, here is the hash for my DID document. It shows that I am verified. And so here we can see the first instances of pulling data down from the encrypted state and into the wallet. And we are going to soon be adding data connections between peers as well. So it's super exciting. We've got a bunch of different languages as we're trying to make this as accessible as possible. We also have Wallet Connect here where we can scan QR codes or paste in addresses and connect into external applications. Governance is in the wallet. We are going to be running through this with the foundation to make sure that we're all up and running with that. And we also have a marketplace that is coming up quite soon with certified creators who are creating collections for a marketplace. And I don't know how much time we have or if we should just focus on the identity stuff for right now. Yeah.
Well, I guess this is a great overview of what the Vendable wallet is all about, the capabilities that it has, and really how a decentralized future can be built using your product offerings. Tell us where you are in the development roadmap of your suite of products.
Yeah, so we are now, our upcoming release it launches our next phase in privacy preserving mechanisms, where new connections that you make with contacts or applications will spin up a new associated account. We have our marketplace coming into the wallet that uses the data layer and our encryption systems. So for creators, when you create a collection, it will actually encrypt the original. It will create a second, smaller watermarked version that is viewable in the marketplace, but also across any other wallet or explorer or marketplace. So we're moving towards more rights for creators and owners around their assets. So it extends beyond just artwork. We're moving towards steganography, where we can actually change some ones and zeros in the file and keep up with the current account owner. That way, if an asset is somehow leaked onto the big World Wide Web, it can run through a service where we can say, oh, it was this account that leaked that. And so we can help, keep things safe and secure. That's really, one of our big things.
Right. Yeah. Nice. And then, who do you have on board now, and who are you looking to onboard next, both in terms of users and vendor partnerships?
Yeah. So we've right now, everybody on board is primarily from the waitlist. We will be finishing invitations with that within the month, because our next goal is to reach out to the developer community. We want to show everybody what is possible, even just now, even just with simple checks on chain, what is possible, and we want to hear about your ideas and what could you possibly create with this system, because then we'll open up access to those communities to board very simply, and we're also looking to partner with other wallets, which sounds odd because we're a wallet company, but we don't actually consider ourselves like a true wallet. We're a wallet application whereby we allow transactions to happen in our infrastructure, but it's just one part of what we do. We're really a key management system with identity as that core key. Right. So we know, at some point there will be certain jurisdictions where if you want to, download this app from the App Store, the Play Store, or even to have your wallet in this Play Store, there will most likely in certain jurisdictions have to be some identity component to that. We can offer this service to other wallets where they can do a zero knowledge proof check, and they can verify that this identity is valid and it's from this geographical region, and simple yes or no checks to pass all of those those hurdles to getting out there without having to, number one, have to put everybody through KYC each time. This is a reusable document that can be done over and over again. And they don't. So there's a lot of burdens there for wallet producers. So we hope to really streamline that with APIs, nice. SDKs, things like that.
So as a dev, how do we connect with you and the Vendable team?
The easiest way is to on our website. There's a simple form. You can just drop your email in, and we will get back to you.
And which website should we be following?
vendablelabs.com.
All right, good.
Yes.
How about a Twitter handle? You got one of those?
I think so. I'm not a social media guy. I was actually never, speaking of privacy, I was until we started Vendable, you couldn't find me on the internet. So Vendable, the company, is at GoVendable on Twitter. Right. And I am at BROUGHT Doug012 @Broughton.
All right. Well, Doug, thanks so much for introducing the Algo devs to Vendable. It was a pleasure having you on our first Algorand Proof of Stake show.
Yeah, this has been great. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, until next time, Algo devs, have fun building on Algorand.